Let's talk about another big story this week. This is, and indeed today, the Nigel Farage scandal, and actually NatWest may have broken the law over this scandal. I'm not surprised this has reared its head, and also the Information Commissioner very much saying that Nigel Farage's trust had been betrayed by the High Street Bank. I'll come to Alex in a second, but Ed, what are your thoughts on this in terms of a possible breach of the law?
Well, obviously, your data with the banks are sacred, and it's wholly wrong for the banks to share any of your data, either by email or by a cosy conversation with a journalist at a posh dinner, which is apparently what happened. And the thing that really drives me mad about this whole saga is, you know, I'm a politically exposed person. I'm sure Alex is as well. You even maybe, Peter, having worked for an MP. And you get these incredibly intrusive investigations by the bank where they're claiming that they're carrying out what the regulations require. You sometimes have your financial services removed. I've had a credit card removed from me because I refused to fill out these endless forms they kept sending me.
So you've been slightly debanked yourself then, Ed?
Yeah, me and Ken Clark, both with American Express, we both got these forms. You know, I've had an American Express card for a long time, saying, you know, give us your details. You know, who are you? Blah blah blah. You know, life is too short, frankly. I pay off my credit card bill every month. You know, I'm not bad. You seem
to have changed your first name to Lord. What is going on here? Alex,
the thing, what I just quickly want to say is the thing that drives me absolutely mad is if you then complain to the banks and say, why are you doing this? They say, well, we can't tell you because of confidentiality reasons.
Well, exactly. I mean, it's ludicrous, Alex, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I mean, look, we need to have legislation in place for politically exposed people when you look at the situation of, you know, Russian oligarchs and so on and so forth, money laundering, corrupt regimes. But you know, just because you've got a political opinion or work in politics, it should be quite obvious that you're probably not taking backhanders from banana republics and trying to use your banking system to, I don't know, money launder entire nations' GDP. It seems very heavy-handed, and it has been abused and exploited and targeted very much against people who these big conglomerates dislike. I have huge amounts of satisfaction with my own bank. I've never had to fill out a form. They're absolutely fantastic, great customer service. And so I've not actually had to experience anything like this. But what is alarming is how much this is happening to ordinary people. And I think that is what we've got to keep our focus on here. NatWest has done wrong. She's gone. She lied. I mean, what was so ridiculous is how audaciously she lied and tried to string it out.
But they backed her. They backed her, didn't they, Ed? They backed her. They said we have full confidence in this person. They then got rid of a few hours later. People saying she should use her damehood. Labour MPs criticising Number 10 for urging her to quit in the first place. I mean, that's pretty ludicrous. What about free speech, Ed?
Well, I said before she quit that she should go. You cannot possibly have the chief executive of a bank discussing a customer's details with a journalist. Imagine if it happened to any of us. You know, what does Ed Vaizey spend his money on? You know, I'll freely tell you, Mr. Journalist. I mean, it's just absolutely ludicrous that she should have been able to stay. And I was noting that the makeup of the board are all bankers. It's time to get some politicians on these boards. People understand how the real world works.
Are you selflessly putting yourself forward?
I need to go on the board of them.
Selflessly putting yourself forward to be in the board of NatWest. It is fascinating though when you have the board backing her, and now these Labour MPs criticising Number 10 for urging her to quit in the first place. I mean, it was as plain as day to anybody who knows anything about how reputation works. I mean, not just the dogs in the street knew that Alison Rose had to resign, and that was so clear. And now they seem to be facing an investigation as to whether they broke the law. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen with that, Ed, but it's really bad for the bank, isn't it?
It's really bad for the bank, and I think it's bad for the board, and I think the board should be reflecting very carefully on their role in this. And we've already seen with NatWest's share price and so on that investors have started to lose confidence in the board. So they've got a real problem, and this saga is not going away. The other thing, getting into very dangerous territory for a white middle-aged man to say, but there is this, the defence of Alison Rose that she was a woman is, in my view, kind of infantilizing.
It's really tedious. I think it's really sexist, actually.
Yeah. It's just ridiculous. I hate this. I mean, who cares whether you're male or female, black or white? You do a job, you do it well. It should be a meritocracy. But what's interesting, actually, the fact that Labour MPs are sort of jumping up and down saying, oh, well, Farage is getting everyone to dance to his tune. Number 10 shouldn't have gotten rid of her. Not that they did. It was the board and, well, she resigned. But it just proves that this is politically motivated because it clearly hasn't happened to them.
Yes.
If it started happening to the left, they would take issue with it. And this is the problem, isn't it? That, you know, the left wing have recently been bringing on steroids this punitive tribal politics of persecution.
They love cancelling people.
You get to be cancelled and it doesn't happen to them. And when it happens, all of a sudden they think, well, this is fine, this is justice. It isn't. And I would also like to question, what about Simon Jack? Now, this isn't just some sort of rookie reporter at a local newspaper. This is the business editor of the BBC. If anybody should understand things like data protection, GDPR, you know, the sort of rigours that have to be applied to...
I'm going to defend Simon Jack slightly and say that if the chief executive of a major bank gives you what you think is a true story and you've got a credible source, surely he had a duty to report that.
But there's a balance, isn't there, of course, with public interest and whether this information was in the public interest. And a journalist needs to know what can and cannot be said legally.
Yeah,
you know, I think they should. There is journalistic responsibility. This is why we have a profession. People who go on Twitter and send out a viral tweet are not journalists. You go to journalism school, you get a qualification,
but
you
in the
train
BBC,
in the
I mean,
job,
I worked for the BBC and it will have gone through like 10 million different managers.
This is what I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't understand that either.
So
it's
many
very, very
layers of bureaucracy at the BBC, and somehow this story didn't just go out but got double-checked and still went out, and no one said, hold on, do you not think that they probably shouldn't be disclosing what may or may not be in Farage's bank account? I'm just really surprised that
just finally, what do you make of that point that Alex makes there?
I back Peter Cardwell on this one. I think journalists get scoops, and if every single journalist refused to write a story because the documents they had received were confidential, we'd have to reduce the news output by about 50% and half the size of our newspaper.
Do you know why you're backing me and not Alex? Because you're a middle-aged white man. That's the reason, Ed.
Yeah,
that's the reason.
You're trained to be a journalist here. I did. I went to journalism school.
Thank you very much indeed, Ed Vaizey there, Lord Vaizey, who is a Conservative peer and former Culture Minister.